Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening, everybody. Thanks for tuning in to another Supatease video. And Blizzard is already revealing data for the next patch of Midnight 12.0.5. They've revealed new features that are going to be available for it, as well as some insane class changes that you're definitely going to want to know about moving into the future. So as always, if you want to make sure that you're staying up to date with news related to World of Warcraft, educational and entertaining content, then make sure to smash that subscribe button. Your support is greatly appreciated. It is important to note that this 12.0.5 is probably further down the pipe. This is not the initial class tunings that they've planned. This is future. So this is like where your class is going to be probably a few months from now. So the main new feature for this is incoming void assaults. The forces of the void are vying for position and control amongst themselves in a bid for more power. As they seek every opportunity they can, attacks will begin in the Eversong Woods and Zul'Aman Zone. So this is probably very, very similar to the Burning Legion, right? Where we saw them coming in with Legion assaults. These are void assaults. Those are really fun. They had some cool cosmetics tied to them, and it looks like it's going to be limited to Eversong and Zul'Aman on a weekly rotation. So just including the content from previous expansions that worked. There are also going to be void incursions. These are larger scenarios which occur when enough void strikes have completed in the zones and will take the might of many of Azeroth's champions to defeat them. Zul'Aman void assaults are available this week and will rotate to Eversong Woods void assaults next week. Wait, is this literally coming out? Wait, am I wrong about this? What do you mean next week? These are already going live. I thought that this would be, down the pipe a bit, but like why does it say next week? I mean, we're going to have to see if that's a typo or get a little bit more into the specifics of it here. For ritual sites, put a stop to rituals meant to empower the ambitions of power-hungry Naga and Twilight Blades cultists in a small 1 to 5 player instance. As you take on greater challenges, you'll be able to receive greater rewards. So a little bit more kind of like delve-oriented content. In ritual sites, you'll choose some of the challenges you'll face as you climb through the tiers. Players will also unlock great vault rewards for world content row alongside delves and prey. Players will earn field accolades from both void assaults and ritual sites as currency that they can use to purchase champion and heroic quality gear rewards. So a lot more focus on solo player gameplay and more vault options as well. Their developer notes Daggerspine ritual site is available this week and will rotate to the Broken Throne ritual site next week. I think I was wrong about my initial assessment on when this patch is coming. This patch literally is the next patch. Like, what do you mean? Is it? We're already getting this stuff. This stuff is already happening. Okay, I thought that this was going to be a little bit further down, but I guess it's not. The Voidforge. As Midnight Season 1 begins, players will assist the Dominar Decimus with the construction of the Voidforge as they explore the nature of mysterious void cores. This progression is warband-wide, with the Voidforge's initial completion in this content update. Decimus gains the ability to transmute void energy into powerful nebulous void cores every week that can be used to acquire additional loot every week and chase specific items over time. I really like the verbiage here. As somebody who, the main reason I quit PvE in the past was because gear was random and you could never target what you needed and you just felt like you ran the same thing over and over and never got it. That statement right there makes me very happy that I'm trying PvE out again after a while, so that if there's like the weapon or whatever it is, the trinket, if there's a way to actually target it, I think that's going to be really good. After players help acquire a new tool that will allow Voidforge's power to reach new heights, Decimus will return the favor by infusing weapons and trinkets with greater power from rare Ascendant void cores. So you're going to be able to even further empower items as well from this. I don't know if PvP items will be. It doesn't talk about PvP stuff related to this. Probably not, if I had to guess. Nebulous void cores. Players can use nebulous void cores to more easily obtain specific equipment, whether they are chasing best in slot items on their main character or looking to quickly gear up their alts for later in the season. So just catch up mechanics, solo player stuff. It's great. Upon defeating a Midnight Season 1 raid boss or completing a Mythic Plus dungeon, Bountiful Delve or Prey Hunt on Nightmare difficulty, players may choose to spend their Void Cores to receive a random item appropriate for their loot spec from that activity. After receiving an item in this way, it is removed from that loot pool until all eligible items have been obtained on a per difficulty basis. I really like that there's like, you're eventually going to be working down to the thing that you want instead of just infinitely never getting it. I feel like that's a really good adjustment on their part. For example, receiving the Ranger's Captain's Iridescent Insignia Trinket from the Crown of Cosmos Encounter in the Void Spire on normal difficulty will not remove it from consideration on Heroic or Mythic. The item level of Mythic Plus rewards from Nebulous Void Cores is equivalent to the Great Vault rewards from the Keystone that the level is, so Mythic 1 to 6 at Keystone level 10 and above. Upon completing the Void Spire Crown of the Cosmos Encounter, Marksman Hunter will be offered the following bonus loot prompt. So you can get more bonus loot and it will be more targeted so that you can actually get the thing that you want from the boss. I think that's really good. And it's following that same path for everything else. Decimus will offer Nebulous voidcores to the player in exchange for a choice of valuable resources, including gold, Voidlight Marl, and Veteran Dawn quests. So if you end up getting all the gear that you want, you can then dump it into the cosmetic bank to use this currency even further. The total number of Nebulous voidcores available to a character increases by 2 every week for a remainder of the season. Due to the smaller loot pools and the exceptional power of raid items, these rewards will require 2 voidcores upon defeating a raid boss. Other endgame content such as Mythic Plus will only cost 1. As a result, acquiring a particularly desired trinket and weapon or ring is likely to require a similar total Nebulous voidcores regardless of source. For example, a player chasing a trinket from a raid boss with 3 total items matching their loot spec is likely to receive that trinket in the same amount of time it would take to acquire a trinket from Mythic Plus dungeon. I really like still that this is, you're eventually going to get the trinket. Finally, bro, this has been the main pain point for PvE, for me at least, for the longest time. I don't know if it is for you. Let me know in the comments down below if it is for you. Ascendant Voidcores. Following the Voidforge's construction, Decimus will ask players to assist him in crafting the Ascendant Neilhammer, a powerful tool capable of manipulating Ascendant Voidcores to empower worthy equipment. Upon completing this warband-wide journey, players may begin acquiring Ascendant Voidcores from Midnight Season 1 endgame content, including raids, Mythic Plus dungeons, Bountiful Delves, and Nightmare difficulty praise. Consuming an Ascendant Voidcore infuses an legible weapon or trinket with additional power to increase its item level. I would have liked to get these from PvP, like even if it's less than the other content, just would have been nice to like get 1 Voidcore or something from weekly PvP activities. Only fully upgraded hero, myth, and maximum quality radiance crafted weapons and trinkets are eligible to become Ascendant Voidformed or Voidforged. So you can Voidforge it to a higher item level, it seems like. Increase the item of a fully upgraded myth, maximum quality from season 1. So just more upgrades to be able to chase. So there's always going to be something that you can get as a better upgrade, which is nice. Decor duels. What? Player housing PvP? Player housing PvP? Amidst all the danger that swirls above Azeroth, there's something to be said about having a little fun. Okay. Players can join in a team versus team hide-and-seek style game taking place in Silvermoon City through the Group Finder PvP tab. To either hide as a various housing decor item or seek out those who have donned the guise of an item. You'll earn new rewards such as mounts, toys, and housing decor through this bite-sized event. This is the thing that they talked about at the announcement thing, so it's actually going live much sooner than later. So this is like the prop hunt thing that I think a lot of people were actually excited for. The Abyss Anglers dive deep into the shimmering waters off Zolomon's rugged coast where schools of exotic fish swarm just beneath the surface. Team up to spear as many as you can and rack up points to unlock fishing rewards and upgrades to your diver gear, allowing you to venture deeper into the abyss where the greatest treasures await. So again, focusing on more casual players, people who like fishing stuff, and giving them something cool to look forward to, really making sure they're covering like the scope of all the players in WoW. Like a lot of good changes for those hardcore PvEers as far as gear acquisitions and chasing upgrades, and then really cool casual stuff as well. Abyss Anglers is new repeatable event arriving just off the coast, and maybe this will feel like the Fisher thing in Stranglethorn. That was a really fun thing from Classic. I wonder if this inspired from that at all. Seek out the Depth Diver Jiju to suit up and enter the depths, zip through whirlpools, catch creatures with your harpoon, and discover treasures amidst the underwater steam vents. Prove your mastery to earn dive equipment upgrades and cosmetics. So this could be really cool for people who want to do that. Now, finally, the class stuff. Some of this stuff is actually crazy. So with the 12.0.5 PTR build, players will see several class changes included in this update. These are just the first round of changes. Additional class changes are planned and will be added in future PTR builds over the coming weeks. So for Drakthir, Chosen Identity. Savvy spell sleuths may notice a spell called Battle Visage in this week's build data. While this feature isn't ready for testing just yet, we wanted to give a heads up. Battle Visage is intended to be a toggleable spell for evokers like Chosen Identity, that while active causes your character to automatically switch to their Drakthir form for spells and require their draconic physique. After the spell is finished, though, you will automatically return to Visage form. And I was asking for this, bro. I was asking for this all in the previous patch because, like, if you just need to be temporarily a dragon and then other spells can be out of form, I feel like that would look way cooler than just always being the flappy boy. So there are some technical hurdles we're working through with the Battle Visage, specifically in regards to the camera positioning, as switching quickly between forms can cause discomfort on the camera moving up and down. We look forward to your feedback. I feel like this, like Drakthir, probably, Evoker in general, probably not like super popular, but also is this the class, the race as well, because it says Drakthir. So like if you're a Drakthir warrior, can you look like the humanoid version with just horns if you don't want to look like the dragon sometimes? I think adding customization like this is always going to be really good. I think this will likely increase participation on the class. I think for a lot of people, they just don't want to be the lizard boy all the time. You know, it makes sense when you're flying through the air, but when you land, maybe shoot a disintegrate out of your hand instead, like Iron Man. For Frost Death Knights, your Apex talent, Chosen of the Frostbrood, rank 4 has been updated. The ability to use Recall Froststorm's Fury is no longer on the global cooldown, so you can just boomerang your dragon just instantly. For Deathbringer, Echoing Fury secondary effect has been redesigned. Casting Reaper's Mark grants 1 stack of Exterminate with 100% first sight and 100% second sight effectiveness. Isn't that really good? I don't play a lot of Frost DK, and I know Reaper's Mark has been going up a lot in value. I feel like that sounds really good. Or Exterminate, though, is being updated. After Reaper's Mark explodes, your next 2 obliterates or frost scythes will cost 1 rune and summon 2 scythes to strike the enemies. The rest of the effect remains the same. I feel like that just gives it more certainty and makes it really strong. Am I being silly here? Oh, DK, are you guys getting sledgehammered? What is this? New talent, Cycle of Death. Putrefy reduces the cooldown of Death and Decay by 1 second. Death and Decay reduces the cooldown of Putrefy by 0.3 seconds for each enemy it damages up to 3 seconds. So giving Death and Decay a little bit more of an identity around the Putrefy playstyle. I feel like a lot of players in PvE were talking about Death and Decay kind of just feels like a circle you put down. So now they're adding a little bit of gameplay there. Raise Abomination has been updated. Disease Cloud no longer causes enemies to take increased damage from minions. Now it deals plague damage periodically to nearby enemies. I think this is a wise decision. The damage modifiers between all of your cooldowns were just stacking so much that it was a really big issue. This is a very healthy change, and I think it adds a more an identity to Raise Abomination. It's intended for AoE. Pick the Gargoyle if you want single target, and it's not going to have this massive damage modifier scaling thing that players have been criticizing the class design of. So I think that's a really healthy change. The tuning could determine your viability, you know, on top of this, but I think that is a healthy overall change for it. Soul Reaper is also being updated. It no longer consumes all available charges to cast Putrefy. Instead, it grants you 1 charge of Putrefy when it is cast, and it moves up to the 2nd gate in the talent tree. So you might be a little less bursty with Soul Reaper, but it'll give you more opportunities to Putrefy throughout your rotation is what I would expect with that. Putrid Echoes has an additional effect, and Putrefy now consumes up to 2 available charges. So Putrefy is going to be more rotational and a little bit less in the cooldown window, which again sounds like a healthy change. Lesser Ghoul is also going to do 17% less damage. Pestilence renamed to Blightfall and now overrides Dark Transformation instead of Outbreak. Okay, that could have some major implications. I didn't expect us to get this much for class stuff. They've moved some of your talents as well. They've removed Blightfall, they removed March of Madness, and they removed the Scythe of Decay. For Riders of the Apocalypse, Unholy Armaments has an additional effect. Your Ghoul and Skeletal Archer deal 10% of what? And Lesser Ghouls deal 20%. Oh, okay, so they updated this talent and they had to nerf it baseline with this talent. So they want Unholy Armaments to actually feel a bit better than it has historically. These seem really good and healthy changes for DK. Just very, very like on the pulse. Feast of Souls has been updated. While you have 2 or more horsemen aiding you, your Death Coil deals 20% and Epidemic will deal 20% increased damage. Buffing your damage, well, it's a little bit in the cooldown window, but you know, I guess it kind of is because it requires 2. Which you're probably only going to get during your cooldowns. You know, the chance that you randomly summon 2 horsemen at the same time is pretty low. So this kind of does make the cooldown damage a little more bursty. It's kind of taking it out of Abomination and now putting it into this. So it's kind of a little bit of a trade-off there. Sand Lane Frenzied Bloodthirst has been updated. Essence of the Blood Queen increases the damage of your Death Coil and Death Strike by 3% and Epidemic by 3% per stack. So a little bit more scaling sustained damage, which is nice for this hero build. Thrill of the Blood has an additional effect. Dread Plague deals 5% and Virulent Plague deals 5% increased damage. These seem really healthy, not over the top buffs. Desecrate has been updated. Death and Decay deals its damage 100% faster. I think these are overall really good. I don't know if there will be any PvP tuning on this or not, but that seems really cool for DK. Now on Evoker, Blessing of the Bronze is now castable on friendly players who are not in your party or raid, similar to other buffs. You can buff people who walk by like Classic WoW. Here you go. Augmentation. New talent, Mighty Inferno. Inferno's blessing damage is increased by 40%, and your effects that extend Ebon might also extend Inferno's blessing. This replaces Molten Embers. So it should give you a little bit more sustained damage in that window. Inferno's blessing will now correctly always apply to the casting Evoker and will no longer apply to pets. Regenerative Chitin has a new icon. Molten Embers has just been completely removed. So a little bit more certainty on where your buffs are going with this one. For Chrono Warden, new talent, Chronal Dynamo, Living Flame's cast time will be reduced by 0.2 seconds, and it will deal 50% increased damage or healing when it is a non-instant cast. Replaces energy cycles. Energy cycles has been removed. I don't play Evoker enough to know how huge energy cycles was. So if you're an Evoker player and that's like, oh my god, they just completely gutted us, please let me know in the comments down below. But this sounds like Living Flame is just going to be like a pretty scary spell when you're just using it like more rotationally from my observations, and even as like preservation. And I feel like preservation kind of needed that. For preservation specifically, the following changes are intended to help Prez heal spread out targets, particularly in dungeons. Temporal Anomaly is now a more reliable spell that you can fall back on to keep your party safe, and Emerald Blossom now has a better talent support to heal allies even if they're not stacked. So this is, yeah, preservation was really good in raid. People stack up a lot more, there's more targets, but in dungeons not so much, and even in PvP not so much. So like, but it's targeting spells that you don't really use in PvP, so it's probably not going to have a huge effect in PvP. Temporal Anomaly is being redesigned and now instantly applies an absorb to your target and up to 4 allies within 40 yards, rather than being an area that travels. That could actually be good. That's like powered shield. Fluttering Seedlings has been redesigned slightly. Emerald Blossom sends out 1 to 2 flying seedlings when it bursts, plus up to 2 to 4 additional seedlings if Emerald Blossom heals fewer than 5 allies. Each seedling heals an ally up to 40 yards away. Maybe this could be good in those situations. Fluttering Seedlings healing increased by 67%. Fluttering Seedlings is now considered a green spell, and its healing is increased by Ouroboros. Again, I'm not even going to try and say that again. Life Giver's Flame now also functions with Deep Breath, giving the first 5 targets hit to heal nearby allies for 80% of the damage done. So some interesting changes there. A lot of identity shifting on Prez. For Chrono Warden, new talent Chrono Dynamo. Living Flame's cast time is reduced by 0.2 seconds, and you're getting the same deal with Chrono Warden, replacing energy cycles for preservation. So more damage, spam, like if you're just spamming Living Flame, if you have time to do it, a little bit more guaranteed instant AoE healing regardless of target positioning, which was a pain point in PvP as well, which maybe we see Temporal Anomaly. We'll have to see how much it absorbs, if it's huge or not. But interesting changes to try and help their viability in multiple forms of content. For Survival Hunter, the following changes are intended to help underperforming talents and provide a damage bonus to dual-wielding Survival Hunters. They were aware that you guys were having some problems with dual-wielding not scaling up with the same stats. I don't understand. Can we not just make it the same so it's just a cosmetic thing? Like, I feel like most people, they don't care that they're getting like an advantage. They just want to look like they're holding one-handers. Am I wrong? Let me know. Sikkim has been updated and now triggers from strike as 1. Critical strikes was previously kill command. And lunge has been updated. It no longer grants wildfire bomb cooldown reduction. Now additionally it will grant 2% agility and increase by an additional 2% while dual wielding. So you get a little bit of more main stat from this, but you're not going to get the I feel like the bomb loss is pretty big. For Pack Leader, Hogstrider has been redesigned. Each time your board deals damage, the damage to your next boomstick is increased by 5 up to 20%. That's going to get nerfed in PvP at least. That's going to be really OP. Hoof and Blade is being redesigned. It now increases Hogstrider's damage bonus by 2%. Sharpened Fangs has been updated. It now additionally increases the damage a Wildfire Bomb deals to its primary target by 15%. And Lethal Barbs now grants 1 focus down from 2. I feel like Pack Leader, those are crazy stonks. I feel like there's no way this is going live next week. They must mean that it's live this week on the PTR. There's no way this is going live next week. This is way too much chaos. There's no way. This has to be a future patch. I was saying earlier I think it's a future patch, and then I was like, the language made me think it was now. There's no way this is next week. Arcane Mage developer notes, we're adjusting Arcane Pulse to behave identically to Arcane Blast to reduce the decision space around which spells should be cast at different times. So Arcane Pulse is going down to a 1.75 second cast, and its cast time is reduced by 8% for each charge you have. They fixed an issue where Arcane Missiles with Aether Attunement Talented or an Overpowered Missiles proc would cause target critters and pull them into combat but not deal damage to them. So just a little bit of like an AoE decision-making thing for your rotation. I kind of feel like Lightning Bolt and Chain Lightning need the same thing on Enhancement Shaman. It's just like, it kind of seems bloated that you have both almost. For Frost Mage, we're making some cosmetic and clarity-related changes to Glacial Spike so that players can easily find Frostbolt in their spellbooks. Okay, it's just a tooltip change. We're adjusting the 4th rank of Hand of Frost to help make Ray of Frost feel like more of a moment and help ease the decision point on its best use case, while we also look to distribute the power of the second charge elsewhere. We're monitoring the throughput impact of these changes and will make adjustments as necessary. That makes me feel like they're putting more into Ray. Icicles are being updated. They no longer generate rapidly out of combat. Ooh. Glacial Spike now has a duration of 60 seconds. It was previously unlimited. Apex talent, Hand of Frost, rank 4, no longer grants an additional charge of Ray of Frost. Now causes Ray of Frost to generate 8 Hands of Frost over its duration up for 4, and Ray of Frost will do 30% more damage up from 25. Again, making Ray really one-shotting in PvP. But again, if this is like the patch that's a few weeks or months down the road, then these are very just like first pass stuff. This could all change significantly. But it's good for figuring out the direction of the class. For Windwalker, Crashing Fist has been redesigned. Fist of Fury damage is increased by 20%. Was extends again, like something like that's gonna be massive in PvP. Apex talent, Tiger Brew rank 1 has been redesigned. Every 3 chi spent generates Tiger Eye Brew Zenith. Consumes up to 20 Tiger Eye Brew stacks to increase your critical strike chance for its duration by 2% per stack. Generates quickly up to 100 or 10 stacks while out of combat. It may generate up to a maximum of 30 stacks. So you can really stack this up a lot and get a huge crit modifier. That's, again, you're going to be crazy strong with that and fist damage. Apex talent, Tiger Eye Brew rank 3 is being redesigned. Zenith now grants access to 2 additional Zenith stomps. Okay, Windwalkers are getting a lot of love on this one. Zwen's battle gear may now additionally trigger from spinning crane kick, reducing the cooldown of Fist of Fury by 0.5 for each unique target struck, up to 2.5 seconds. You're just going to be an AoE spin bot, bro. You're going to be doing disgusting damage. Zenith Stomp now also generates 2 chi, but it no longer generates it on cast. Or Zenith doesn't generate it. The Stomp generates it, not Zenith. So you'll have to load some chi and use the Stomp before you can ramp into your damage. For Paladin, for Holy, for Apex, Beacon of the Savior rank 4 now causes Flash of Light and Holy Light to move Beacon of the Savior to their target once every 5 seconds. And Herald of the Sun, Walk into the Light, has been redesigned. Now increases the chance of infusion of light to occur by 100% during Avenging Wrath. You get guaranteed procs. That gives you a lot of instant healing for Herald of the Sun compared to Lightsmith. But for Lightsmith, Holy Armaments will now also generate 3 Holy Power. So you can throw out the big Absorb on somebody, damage buff, and then get a Word of Glory out immediately from that. For Enhancement Shaman, to better reflect their effects, the names of Raging Maelstrom and Overflowing Maelstrom talents have been swapped. Okay. Overflowing Maelstrom secondary effect has been updated. Each Maelstrom weapon stack consumed grants Overflowing Maelstrom, reducing the cast time, increasing the healing of your next healing surge or chain heal by 10%. Overflowing Maelstrom can accumulate up to 20 stacks, benefiting each cast by up to 10 stacks. So you're just going to get more healing on your healing surge, basically. Warrior! Are you guys getting nerfed? There's no way you guys are getting nerfed, right? Mortal Wounds now triggers from Mortal Strike and Slam. It was previously Mortal Strike and Cleave. We're doing Slam again? Colossus. Practice Strikes now increases Mortal Strike and Slam damage by 15%, and Cleave and Whirlwind damage by 15%. So Colossus buff Mortal Strike. For Slayer, Reap the Storm now triggers when Whirlwind or Cleave hits 3 or more targets. Chance to trigger changed to 15%, down from 20. So a little bit nerf there for Fear or for Slayer. Imminent Demise no longer causes sudden death to trigger Reap the Storm. That seems like a nerf. An Unrelenting Onslaught now also increases the damage of Blade Storm by 20%. So a little bit of some damage modifiers here for arms. I don't think anything too huge. For Fury, Hack and Slash has been redesigned. Rampage has a 100% chance to refund a charge of Raging Blow. Improved Whirlwind now causes Whirlwind to apply Rend to all targets if Rend is known. That's cool. So does that mean Thunderclap won't? Or it means that maybe you won't even have to take Thunderclap? For Slayer, Reap the Storm now triggers when Whirlwind hits 3 or more targets. Chance to trigger changed to 15%, down from 30. Imminent Demise no longer causes sudden death to trigger Reap the Storm, so very similar in line with what they did with arms. And Unrelenting Assault now increases damage dealt by Blaze Storm by 20%. For Prot on Colossus, Practice Strikes now increases Shield Slam damage by 15%, and Revenge and Thunderclap by 15% as well. So some interesting changes here to a couple of specs. Again, this is very service level. It's still hard for me to tell if this is like... There's no way this is going live, bro. We're in the 12.0 build and the season didn't even start. There's no way this is going live until much later, I think. For player housing, if a guild member currently in the guild neighborhood is kicked or leaves the guild, they will now be teleported out of the neighborhood during their eviction. Their eviction notice should be visible after teleporting. Exterior type swapping improvements. They've added attached decor pop-up to exterior customization. Have they made it so your door doesn't randomly disappear anymore? They added decor toggle to exterior customization. We now prevent position and rotation resetting when swapping exterior types. Okay, good. Updated exterior customization mode buttons. Uses its own mode-specific button instead of the layout mode. Implemented new budget icons for the housing upgrades. Add click functionality to decor. Now you can click at decor to open the decor catalog, and shift plus clicking will link it in the chat. Decor and housing now fade in. rather than simply popping in at a distance. They added a friendlier message when you try to enter a house that you're not allowed in. Updated the chat message when acquiring decor. Decor now hyperlinks from the chat to the catalog. So just a little bit of like linking things around and kind of cheeky stuff, nothing major. For professions, for cooking and vendor refreshments, now restore health and mana based on percentage rather than fixed amounts. World of Warcraft offers a wide variety of food and drink items, so there are some food and drink items that are still being updated. So you just eat whatever you want now, at least from professions. The deafness stat now scales at a slower rate for Dragonflight, Khazalgar, and Midnight professions. As a side effect of squishing stats and item level, deafness scaling disproportionately fast than other profession stats, making it trivial to reach 100% deafness in Dragonflight and Khazalgar professions. This change brings deafness back in line to expected values. So a little bit of minor changes there. For user interface and accessibility, the damage meter windows now have a minimize and maximize button, leaving only the head bar when minimized. Previously, certain features needed to be enabled in-game options before being accessible in edit mode. Now you can shift-click the features checkbox in edit mode to enable the feature directly. This applies to features including cooldown manager, damage meter, boss warnings, external defenses, and the loot window. They didn't add the personal resource display. I really wish that was there too. You still have to go into the settings for that. The default size of raid frames and arena frames has been increased. Hey, we got mentioned. We're in there. Added the ability to invite cross-faction players to a party from recent allies window. There's a new icon for stay a while and listen NPCs. For transmogrification, so nothing really too huge here, just some minor tweaks to the UI. As far as like out of the box, which is good. Because I feel like that has been a pain point for people setting up their UI as like a returning player, but nothing too huge seemingly. Transmogrification added a /outfit command to change outfits. Use /outfit X, with X being the outfit's order number in the tracks, so you can make macros to change your outfits without opening the window. That's cool. Added a sheath weapon toggle to the transmog view pane, so you can see what you look like with it sheathed. 2 situations have been added, weather and time of day as well, so you can change the time of day to see what your transmog looks like in the dark. The sets and custom sets section now has more detailed tooltip that shows the collection status of the set and its appearances. Great. When there's an outfit discount in effect, the cost is now green with a tooltip showing the source of the discount, and they added a glow to save outfit button when they are pending changes. Fixed an issue where certain items with special visual effects, such as Forest Lord's antlers, would be displayed incorrectly when applied as a transmogrification. I don't know if anybody else has also experienced that when you open the transmog window, the game crashes and everything goes, like the screen goes white. I don't know what that is, but I've experienced that a bit. This is a very interesting patch. This is a very, very interesting patch. A lot of stuff is safe, like just copy pasta some features from past expansions, but there's also some new stuff and focusing on some cool stuff that was like in Classic with the fishing event, some interesting class changes as well for some specs. I was really hoping like Affliction Warlock was going to get something similar to like what they're doing with DK still. It seems like DK is kind of like the chosen spec. I love these cosmetic improvements and adding more variability. I feel like this is a really solid, like, push past like the initial release, and I think that I've got to be misinterpreting like this whole like next week thing. This has to be next week on the PTR. There's no way it's going live next week. This has got to be a future thing, which means there will still be more class tuning adjustments into the future likely. So I think this was a very good like uplifting post to read. It seems like we're just gonna keep going. We're just gonna keep going up. So thank you guys very much for watching. I hope you guys enjoyed the update, and I will see you in the next one.